G'day everybody, Chris Farhi here from the Bayleys Insights and Data team. We've got Ankur Dakwale to talk about the biggest news in New Zealand real estate. So definitely not at Bayleys HQ today. So Ankur, whereabouts are we?
Yeah, so we are at one of the most iconic properties in Auckland's waterfront. This is 22 O'Neill's Avenue in Takapuna. It was designed by Simon Carnahan in the 80s, and it's been recently renovated and refurbished to the highest standards. If you want a waterfront property, this is the one you must have. So if you want to learn more about this property, please get in touch with Victoria Bidwell from the Bayleys office in Takapuna.
Yeah, this property is amazing, like 100% iconic, right on the water. Slightly dramatic day out there today, which is pretty cool as well. So yeah, well worth seeing if you're in the market for something that little bit special.
First up in the news this week, we have the government that's made changes to the Building Act, more focus on the environment now by enabling mandatory energy performance rating requirements and also waste minimization plans for construction and demolition projects. The built environment accounts for a large part of our emissions, especially during the construction phase. So it's good to see that we're working towards reducing that impact on the environment.
Yeah, also with the mandatory energy efficiency monitoring, good time if you haven't already to get your NABERS NZ qualification if you're in the commercial space. Yeah, worth checking that out as well. Next up, just a quick observation around government bond rates. So if you've been following interest rates this year, you'd have seen the general path upwards, particularly for the official cash rate. Now, one of the things that we're quite interested in is long-term government bond rates because they provide a longer view around the pathway for interest rates. Now, something that's quite interesting that's happened over the last couple of weeks is that there's been quite a strong decline in the rate for 10-year secondary market government bond yields. So this is the longest term interest rate available. Now, that rate peaked at 4.77% during October 2022, so last month. And more recently, it's actually been down at about 4.01%. So it's been quite interesting how that's tracked down, despite obviously the official cash rate going up. So the key insight from there is that investors in the wholesale market seem to have softened their view on where interest rates might be going to. The other thing though is that those rates have been pretty volatile over the last year, and so fair to say the case isn't closed on it just yet, but that is an interesting development.
Next up, we have the Bayleys commercial team that's launched the case studies from the recent Total Property 7 magazine. And a couple of the smaller deals that we found quite interesting. 22 Baxter Street in Warkworth. Now this is leased by Hunting and Fishing, leased for about 8 years, and it's sold for $1.935 million or at a 4.82% yield. We have 102 to 104 Hastings Road in Takapuna. Now these are two retail stores, and these sold for $2.3 million at a 4% yield. 58 Devonport Road in Tauranga. This is 3 tenants including the Specsavers, sold at a 5.8% yield. And in the South Island, we have 4 Klondike Drive in Hornby, Christchurch. Now this is an industrial property, and it's sold for $1.77 million or at a yield of 5.37%.
Next up, we've got Fletcher Building, who has launched a new retirement model into the New Zealand market. And so this is for their Red Beach project on Auckland's North Shore under their Vivid Living brand. And so the thing that's interesting about this is that they're using a new model which would share the capital gains with the resident, or I guess the resident's estate. And this differs from the traditional model used for retirement villages in New Zealand, where typically the operator would keep the capital gain. They've also had a bit of coverage about a generally lower fee structure, so some interesting inroads there.
Next up, we have Hastings Council that's paid $8.5 million for 2 inner city buildings. And now these 2 inner city buildings are bought with a vision to expand the city's art and culture precinct. One of these buildings is currently tenanted by City Fitness, who still has about 12 years left to run on their lease. So it's a very long-term project for the council. And I was actually there last weekend, and you can actually see the difference the council is making in the area and the vision they're trying to achieve in the Hastings Town Centre.
Next up, going offshore, our global partner Knight Frank has released their latest global house price index. And so this index covers house price growth over 56 countries for Q3 2022. Now, within the latest results, they found average increases of 8.8% per annum for the past 12 months across those countries. Now, this is down from a peak of 10.9% per annum, which was registered in Q1 2022. A couple of the interesting findings is that once you account for inflation, real house price growth was largely flat across the countries over the past 12 months. Of the countries, 48 of the 56 registered house price growth over the past 12 months. 21 of those countries had growth in the double digits, which is kind of exciting. There were 6 countries or territories that registered declines over the past 12 months. That was South Korea, Hong Kong, Peru, Chinese mainland, New Zealand, and Morocco.
Knight Frank has also released a global cities index. Now this tracks the house prices in 150 major cities globally. 133 of these cities have registered a house price increase in the last 12 months, with the average growth being about 9% per annum. Istanbul had the higher growth of 212% over 12 months, followed by Ankara, Izmir, Miami, and then Riyadh. 16 cities also recorded price falls over the 12 months. Auckland and Wellington are part of them. And
now those results are interesting in terms of the cities in Turkey. So Turkey has gone into an inflationary spiral, and we're seeing that come through both in terms of consumer prices and also house prices. And this goes sort of full circle back to what the Reserve Bank is trying to stop from happening in New Zealand. And then finally, to wrap up, we've got our property of the week, and I'll go first this week. So I've got 4 Chelsea Court in Rangiora. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, double garage, situated on 898 square metres of land. It's located in a cul-de-sac in an established location known for expansive houses. The section is extremely well established, beautifully designed gardens with raised vegetable beds. And if you want to learn more about this, you can contact Kerry Isles, Jane Moody, or Mark Pringle from the Bayleys team in Rangiora.
And my property of the week this week is undoubtedly the property that we're sitting at, 22 O'Neill's Avenue in Takapuna. It's an absolute waterfront property with breathtaking views. Masterpiece by Simon Carnahan. It's recently renovated interiors, including a kitchen that's been imported from Italy. If you want to learn more about this property, please get in touch with Victoria Bidwell from Bayleys Takapuna.
Yeah, this property is absolutely stunning. So big thanks to the vendor and Victoria Bidwell from Bayleys Takapuna for getting us in here today to check it out. And with that said, we'll wrap it up here. So thanks very much, Ankur.
Thanks, Rose.
And we'll see you next time. Ciao.
Yeah.